What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we have to talk about a pretty troubling rumor. That is, if it's real. Now, I'll jump off the deep end kind of right away and say, I honestly sort of believe it. I think it makes sense from both angles why certain things are happening, but I want to give Critical Overlord the shout out over there on Twitter. He had posted a clip between two, what I would consider, I guess, quote unquote, movie insiders. So what we're going to do, let's watch the clip and then we'll talk about the clip. It's totally up to you to believe these two. If you don't want to, that's absolutely fine, and we'll go from there.
But I'd heard a rumor that they had they may not wait for Jenna Ortega.
What? Why wouldn't you wait for Jenna?
Wait a second. Wait a second.
No offense to Melissa Barrera, but
Jenna,
you wait for Jenna Ortega.
Jenna's super busy,
okay.
Right? Jenna has to do Wednesday, and she has
right. Beetlejuice, possibly.
A whole bunch of commitments and stuff, right?
Right.
So it was like, I can't really do Scream 7 right now. And so I'd heard, well, Scream 7, we got to go. We got to have it out next year. I don't know if we're going to wait. Then Kroll dropped this story about the month.
Okay, so basically in a nutshell, the rumor is that Jenna Ortega is so busy, Scream wants to get going, that they're honestly considering moving on and doing Scream 7 with Jenna not there. It doesn't even sound like necessarily she would be like flying in and out. I know some people have suggested that, where it's like, okay, well, you're working on two things at the same time. I mean, it has happened. I think it's probably most difficult when it's not in the same like lot, right? When you're on like the Paramount lot and it's just one strip of land and it's all these different studios, it's a lot easier for you to jump from one thing to the other. And actors do that. I mean, it's not super common, but actors can definitely do it, I guess, if they're willing. When you're probably in two different places, and specifically when you're going to be working on something I would assume as intense and it's all about you in Wednesday, and then you're also doing, Scream 7. I say Wednesday because you look at kind of like the scheduling of Jenna, you imagine, and Wednesday is the thing that's going to like butt heads with Scream. So, I mean, again, like right away, I don't like it. I completely, like, I understand where they're coming from. I imagine Jenna saying, look, I'm booked for like, and I want to exaggerate, but let's be more realistic. She's got like 6 different projects. Now, a couple of them have either like they've already happened or they're about to happen, or I think Beetlejuice is literally filming starting today or tomorrow or something. So Beetlejuice is going, and this is the same time Radio Silence and Melissa, they're doing their own thing right now. Melissa Barrera, she keeps getting cast in things as well. So you don't want them to get too filled up, because it's like, well, you do need some slot of like a 2 to 3 month time where they could come and they could work on Scream 7. So Jenna probably just wants to do her own thing, at least for a little while, and then go back to Scream. From the Paramount side of things, like, I do understand it, and I said this to somebody on Twitter, where it's like, they absolutely can wait, right? Like, people saying, well, why can't you just wait like 2-3 years or, mimic Scream 3? The answer is they don't want to. Like, that is as simple as it gets. And I think people do know that. They just don't really want to accept it. They want money, right? They see Scream as a cash flow that has come in, and they've seen it 2 years back to back. It's not slowing down. Honestly, in a perfect world with Scream 7 learning from past mistakes and just kind of like nailing an ending, Scream 7 could do better in the box office than 5 and 6. So it could keep going up, right? So in a perfect world, Scream 7's sitting there making 150, 160 on like a bad day, 170, even 180 on a good day. Like it could do that. So if you're Paramount, why in God's name would you wait 2-3 years for the hype to die down? This is an age of people forgetting things every 15 seconds. Why would you do that, right? So I get it, but I only get it because of how money hungry. It's not about the product necessarily. It's about, let's get money super quick. I very much believe that is what happens here. And, well, I'll tell you, though, on the other side of things, why this is just a horrible idea is because of the character of Tara. This would not go well. Now, like, you had the Nev thing happen, right? And people have either kind of forgotten or moved on or didn't care to begin with. And wherever you stand on it, I think is fine. Ultimately, did she, her not being in it in 6, did that hurt the movie? No, it didn't. You could argue maybe the quality of the movie, but truly we would never know. And then in terms of the box office, absolutely not. Now, maybe she would add more to the box office, but it beat so many records, not adjusted for inflation and stuff, but it did really well. 6 did so well in the box office. this is not the same thing, right? It's just flat out not. Tara is, I said this on Twitter, Tara is connected to Sam in terms of kind of like her rock. Now, I know people are making the argument that, I mean, she says, like, you got to let me go, like, let me go. I think that just meant to not be super protective. I don't think that literally meant, well, I'm going to go away now for an entire film. I'm not going to be, that would be stretching the meaning of what she said. I don't think that's what she meant. And more importantly, when the writers wrote that, I do not think that's what they intended. I don't think when the writers came up with this theme of Sam letting Tara go, that they meant that in the next movie, Jenna Ortega / Tara Carpenter would not be in the movie literally at all. That is not what they were going for. So I don't want to use that. I won't use that as like an excuse and say, well, they kind of set it up. Well, they kind of didn't. They kind of did. Same thing with the whole Neve Campbell, where they said, oh, it's a perfect ending in Scream 5. I mean, you can think that, and that's fine. But ultimately, the writers said even back then that they'd fully like bring her back for like future movies. So it's not an ending. You can look at it as an ending. It's just not, right? So that's where I've always stood for both of those issues. Kind of confusing how people come up with things. But no, I mean, in terms of Tara, you got the connection to Sam. And one thing I've talked so much about with Scream 6 is she's the one to bring Sam back, right? From like these kind of trances Sam gets herself in. She brings her back. So not having her in a pivotal 7 where you imagine they will push that Ghostface angle with Sam as far as it's going to go. And then you imagine she has to make a decision. And we've said this. She's got to make a decision, I imagine, of casting Billy completely out, which would be kind of like an ending of Scream 3 kind of thing. Maybe she looks at a reflection and Billy isn't there, signifying that she's kind of kicked him out of her head, right? So you have that, or I guess you have her like falling into the darkness. But Tara is the thing that pulls her back, and she's been the thing that pulled her back in 6. So not having her is a huge deal. Also, she's just a good character. I mean, I don't want to like just say, well, you can't, not having her is bad because of other characters. Well, she herself is a good character. She's a core 4 member. She's one of the main 4 characters of the film. She's sisters, and she's a rock for the main final girl, right? Your 1A, and Jenna / Tara is like your 1B. And also, she's now the girlfriend of another member of your core 4, being Chad. So she's connected to 2 of the 3 that are left besides her very deeply. And then she's also a core member. So this is, and I don't think anybody's arguing that this is or isn't like a Neve Campbell situation. So, I'm not trying to like put words in other people's mouths, but like this is so much worse, I think, because like this is a crucial character to the trilogy. You need her. And if you can get her like you got Neve, it's actually odd how this is happening, isn't it? Because it's almost like, best case scenario at this point, you have her be like Neve. She can film for like 3-4 weeks. So she'll pop in, just do her scenes, pop out. And what that would mean, obviously, is she's just going to be on screen less. Now, maybe that puts more on Mindy and Chad. I really don't think so. Maybe Chad. Sam obviously already kind of does take the whole movie like she did in 6. So then maybe you give more to like a Gail, Kirby, maybe Sydney, right? Like maybe they get elevated more because Tara is not in it as much. I mean, I guess there's ways of looking at it positively. It's just not a good idea. So I guess on one side of things, it is positive if you're looking at this as the idea. I mean, they say it, the 2 movie rumor guys, right? They do say the idea that they want this movie out. They want this movie out next year. And this is not that far off from what Viewer and On, right? Let's not forget that. I've never forgotten that rumor of they want this film to start in October. They want to start filming this film in October so it can release next year. And it would probably, maybe like a summer-ish release. Maybe they can get it out by like the April, May, June time, right? So he didn't say when it releases, but he did say it would come out next year. And he said it would film in October. And then now we hear this, that the movies, they want it out as fast as they can, and they want it out next year. So I think it's still possible that the film does come out next year, which is kind of wild. And I guess also that extra rumor that the script is already done. The script is written, which we talked about, right? And I think that's very possible that script was written before the writer's strike. So we'll see what happens. I want to believe she's in it. I mean, she talked in interviews shortly after 6 that she would be talking to like Matt and Tyler about 7. So like she was still in kind of what seemed to be like a creative process on what they were going to do next I think she wants to play Tara. I think she wants to be in Scream 7. Now it's about you got to find a gap in the Wednesday filming schedule, which to me, it's not about 3-4 weeks being on the Scream set. It's about how do you get her off the Wednesday set when she is the main character, right? Like you have to, I guess, go for some side characters and give them huge arcs where Wednesday takes a huge back seat in the show called Wednesday. That actually wouldn't be surprising for modern day Hollywood, kind of like a bait and switch thing. They do it every single time. So it's not all that shocking that could happen. And I guess that's what we're rooting for if you're rooting for her to be in Scream 7. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're all subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.